Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Getting close to the part where I think we're almost done with symmetrical things on the RM74. I think there's a couple more things I want to sort of look at and tidy up, which I'm hoping to get sorted in this lesson. But we'll see how we go for time as we go along. And one of the things is in this area here, we've got this slinger arm here, or suspension arm here. I've been trying to think about how best going to do this, because obviously it's joined at the top and the bottom and we're printing this conveyor belt as a separate part. So what I'm thinking of doing is producing this top part connected to the chassis, and then putting the hoop here connected to the conveyor belt, and then just sort of try and match them up when we print, and then glue them together in that way rather than trying to print this all as one complete part. So if we look at this image, we can see how it finishes just at the end of this part here. And jumping into Fusion, that's going to be sort of in this area here. So what I'm thinking, let's just build a small rectangular plate on the top, and then we'll draw on the shape of this from that point. So I'm going to jump onto actually, let's cancel that. Let's go for the chassis first. Select the radio button, jump onto this top surface. We're drawing on that surface there. And I'm thinking of just putting a simple rectangle. We're going to snap to the edge. Actually, we don't want to snap to the edge. Think about that. We want to be inside the edge because we need to overhang. And looking at the picture, we're looking at maybe 1.5 mil wide. And I'm thinking, how far do we come? Maybe 1.4 coming out. We can define the distance from the edge there, 0.5, and we can define how far in from that point. Again, we're 0.5, so it's come out as. I'm just going to extrude these. Yeah, probably 0.5 millimeters. Probably looks okay. Probably a bit thick, but looks okay. And we'll tell that to join. What I might actually do is just go back, edit the sketch. I'm just going to fill it off these corners here. And I'm doing a radius of 0.5 on that. I think that looks good there actually. Okay, so now we've got this on the top. I'm going to look to try and draw this now. This bottom edge to me looks horizontal, and that looks like it comes to about halfway between the chassis frames. So I'm going to draw a sketch off of this front surface, and I'm going to come about halfway, come down about halfway down this chassis frame, so about this sort of position here. Got there, and I'm starting roughly where the back of the plate is here. What I might actually do is draw that line on, project on that point there, and then coincidence those two together. So about halfway down there, going to come across, and I would say this probably goes to about this sort of position here. So I'm going to say 5.5 millimeters across. Not sure why that's not coming up, because that's not constrained. So we constrain that height there, and we'll say 1.9 millimeters. Okay, looking at the shape, we're going to come up at the end here, so I'm going to say a mil, so it looks about 6 inches in height. Pull this to the side, pull that out of the way, and then this comes back up diagonal, and it's going to be sort of this position. So again, I'm going to go project on that point. I'm going to come back up to there and close that in. So we've now got the rough shape that we're looking at. Okay, I'm going to extrude this back in. It wants to cut. I'm going to come in a millimetre. I know it wants to be overlapped there, but I'm going for a bit of strength. Click on OK. And what I'm then going to do is, I think this needs to be rounded off on the end here. So I'm going to select that edge and that edge and just fillet those in. So 0.5, so that matches the top there. I'm actually going to put on the bottom surface a small circle on this end. Find the centre point there. It's going to be slightly, I'm maybe going to go slightly bigger. So 1.1 millimetres. Let's actually zoom on this. Let's select both parts of the profile there. In there. Extrude. And I'm actually going to drag this up to the top edge. Maybe filleting might have been the right answer, but maybe not. So we'll just do that. I'm actually going to snap it to that surface there, so 1.9 millimetres high. It looks a little bit odd, but I think it's going to look okay there. And we have a plate underneath here. So again, on that bottom surface. And I'm just going to draw something about that. That's 1.5 millimetres there. So 1.5 on the other direction. Hope that's cutting into the model itself. I'm just going to fillet off these corners maybe. Actually, I think I'm going to, no, I'm going to leave it as it is. Next dimension there to that point of the circle, and say 0.4. And we'll collect that profile and extrude that. This up. Dragging it downwards. I'm going to go 0.4, tell it to join. Okay, so we've got that. On this end we've got a circular boss, so we can draw that on. Again, I'm going to sketch on the bottom surface. Let's just slice through so you see that we're looking at. And I'm going to find the midpoint, come across. 1.3 millimeters in diameter. Just drag this back in slightly, so 0.4. Find the distance here, so 0.5 put it at the midpoint. Let's get both of these profiles, extrude. And then looking at this, I want to go slightly higher and lower, so I'm going to do two-sided extrusion and come down by 0.1 to the top and then up by 0.1. So we've got that cut, and just go back into that, edit, and tell it to join. So a bit slightly above and below. Okay, so now swap into this picture, we can see we've got rectangles above and below, and then a diagonal piece coming off of that. So I'm going to do a mid-plane from the top and the bottom surface, so that whatever we draw at the top we can then copy down to the bottom. Obviously we don't want that on quite yet, so we'll turn that off. going to draw a sketch on the top surface, and slice through. And we want this to sort of come back across at this angle. Looking at the shape, I'm thinking it's a rectangle really. We'll fill it off the edge. We're going to come back. Actually, we're going to want not normal rectangle. We're going to want a 3-point rectangle. We need it at an angle. Something about that sort of angle, I think. We do and there'll be, no matter where I rotate this, it will be at that angle. So it'll be attached to the sides there. Just going to fill it off these 2 corners. These in a bit. 0.55 looks okay. Define length as 1.6. Wherever it sits now, I'm going to define that. So we're coming to this point here on the chassis just to define against. We'll go to that edge, 2.3, and we'll do the same on that one. 1.72, and that should lock it in, which it hasn't. Let's go this way. No, that's already constrained. That's already constrained. Okay, so why is it not? So that won't rotate. That won't rotate. Not sure what's not constrained there, but it looks like nothing will move. So just select these profiles. I'm going to extrude this. I'm going to come upwards with a 0.3. That's join. And then we're going to mirror that feature, which is the body we've just drawn across plane 15. So we should have one top and bottom now. Okay, so now we're going to draw the diagonal, and looking at it, the top surface looks like it becomes level with the bottom surface. So I'm going to draw on, this front face here. I'm going to draw 2 parallel lines. I want that to come down to the bottom surface, which it hasn't picked up, so we'll do a project at that point there. And then we'll come down from here, so we can project into that. 3.5. Maybe a bit too far. We can come back to that in a minute. Back to look at 3.3. So I want that to be horizontally vertically constrained to that. Move a line. Project on that corner. A line is going to come down parallel to that endpoint. Again, Again, that looks like it's chopping into here, so we're going to have to reduce the length of these. We'll vertically constrain that point to that point there. Let's bring this back. It's still chopping in. Yeah, quite possibly. 5mm. Close that off. I'm just going to draw a rectangle along to that midpoint, come down to there, close that off. Then we can extrude this. In fact, let's do start profile. We're going to offset it by -0.2. Drag this across. Type join. And on the end we've got a circle which is pretty much on top of that chassis, so it's not actually going to be too bad not having this bit connected. So what I actually need is I'm going to extrude this out slightly. That's join, and then that I've then got my surface here that I can draw on. Rather than create an offset plane, and then find the midpoint of that, which is going to be easier if I just draw a line at 90 degrees to it. Let's go 1mm circle, define distance from that point there, which is where the bottom of the diagonal comes down, 0.3. Select up all this profile, and we can extrude that up, do a join. Do that two sides actually. I'm going to come up 1.3 and down 0.1. Okay, so now I'm going to put some nuts on or bolts on the top. There's one at the top on this one, bottom on this one, and then top on the bottom. So on the top here, I'm just going to use the polygon tool, circumferenced polygon, find the midpoint, number of sides, it doesn't really matter for this process. I'm going to go for diameter, 6 on the number of sides, diameter 0.3, and we can extrude this 0.2. Do the same on the bottom of this one. Okay, I'll just find the midpoint of these radius, 0.3, extrude it by 0.2. Top of the lowest one, slice through so you can see it. Okay, so now I'm just going to add this part on to the conveyor belt underneath here. And to do that, I'm just going to draw let's back first of all, let's swap to the conveyor belt, which is lay down conveyor, create offset plane. I'm going to offset it from the end. I'm going to come 2.6mm, so just inside this part of the supporting arm we've drawn. Create a sketch onto that profile. And turn off. Don't need to actually, just going to slice through, I think that'd be easiest. Okay, so I'm going to go from the top to that, so we need to project these points in here. And looking at the shape, we're going to start relative to this. I'm going to do 0.25 in width. There, I'm going to do that as 0.3. Okay, so let's try and make this shape. So looking at this, it comes up above before it goes diagonal. So let's go 0.4, 0.5. Let's actually go the other side first, I think. Like that. Just going to project on that line there so I can get parallel to that. And I'm going to project that surface there. So let's come up to that surface like that, and then I'm going to parallel that line to that line I projected. And there we go, got parallel parts there. And then I'm going to come across. I don't actually want it to be in a position where that's probably going to touch, I don't think, because I think that'll be asking for trouble. So maybe 1.8mm, so it's going to be slightly short. There we go. And if we extrude that, oh sorry, let me 1 second, let me just define all this so you can see what I've done. So we've got that defined, there's that height, width there's defined, height of that, length of this piece. I'm not changing these because they're off the projected parts here. That's already defined, that's parallel to that. That's defined from that point. Not sure what's not defined here, but you can see the dimensions. This is parallel to this line coming up here, so that's fine. I'm just going to extrude that then. Spin that round. I'm going to go for 0.9mm, tell it to join, and that'll be joining this part here, not the top here. Okay, I think I'm happy with that now. Okay, so now we've got that sorted. There's one other thing that I noticed, which was this conveyor belt now sits within the inside of this one, and it's obviously now hitting. So I'm just going to try and take some of this off to try and clean that up a little bit so we're not going to have that issue. So just looking at that conveyor belt there, if we select it, I'm going to draw a sketch. Where am I going to draw it? Let's spin this round, turn off that lay down conveyor. I'm going to draw it on this face here. So if we select that base to draw a sketch on, turn the lay down conveyor back on, and then what I'm going to do is just draw a line that comes across like this, and then I'm just going to draw a box that comes round to close in on it. Turn off the lay down conveyor again, select the profile, extrude, and I'll cut that bottom edge off. That needs to take this off as well, for some reason that's sticking out. So we can actually I'm going to come up a little bit higher on that line. I'll come back into it. Drag that a bit more. And then cut this off. Just a simple extrude on there. Turn the lay down conveyor back on, and we should have clearance underneath now. Obviously, if it touches this, then obviously when we go to put it all together, it won't work properly. It'll be clashing. I think that looks okay. We've got some room up the top here that obviously when we place this in, that can sit on the roof here, and that'll be okay. So that'll be supported at the top, which I'm happy with that. Okay, other than that, I think I've gone around and I've tried to find as many symmetrical things as I can, and I think I've pretty much caught them all at the moment. There might be a few more things, but what we'll do to get around that, if we just come up to the top, we can put an offset plane in on the mid plane here of the chassis, and that will be in construction planes, and we can just rename that mid plane. And if we need to mirror anything over later, we can do so. But I think I'm going to be leaving it at that point there. And I hope you've all been able to get to this point. We're getting to the point now which is going to be starting to add more details in and really make this model stand out. So thanks for watching.